Hello, Everyday Superpower signing in. Yo, I'll try to keep this a short one because it's warm out here and my phone doesn't handle the warmth too well, to be fair with you. It seems to be a bit of a manufacturing flaw with the iPhone because, I don't know how people in foreign countries, exotic countries, sort of knock around with this if it overheats all the time, but regardless, you're listening to Everyday Superpower. We talk about body language, non-verbal communication, and everything in between. Today I'm just going to ask you a quick question, and that's going to be, do you listen to them? Alright? Do you listen to them? And we're going to talk about the intonation of one's voice, the way something is expressed, is, nearabouts less than 10% of a message is expressed through the actual words that are said. It's more important to pay attention to how the words have been said, alright? And then obviously we do have the body language that comes as an associate with that, whether that be congruent body language or, quite a mismatch of body language which will express a completely different message, right? But we know that by now. We're not going to talk about that. So, fellas, you need to learn how to speak. No, more importantly, you need to learn how to listen to the woman you're with, purely as she's going to give you messages through words that are completely irrelevant, okay? And she's going to assume that you are aware of what she is saying because she perceives language and communication in that manner. That's how women speak with each other in complete understanding. That's how she speaks, that's how she listens to you. She understands you better than any other man will because she has a built-in communication, hard drive of information, essentially, and that's through survival mechanism first and foremost, to ensure that she is aware who she's dealing with, and it's in regards to being able to communicate well with children, whom obviously don't learn how to speak from the get-go, so she has to assess and learn how to read the child to ensure she can care for them. So it's a bit of a cliche, but when you're speaking to a woman who is evidently irate and she says, everything's fine, how are you doing? I'm good. Obviously, the words don't sync to the tone of voice, and this is where you should be paying attention in all of your communications, verbally speaking. You should be able to pick out when the tone doesn't align with the vocal. When you're speaking and inquiring and communicating and everything's going well, and then the tone of pitch changes mid-conversation in reaction to a statement or a question, you need to assess that. I can be speaking to a woman and speak to the inner child of that woman. We're having joyful, gleeful conversation. Psychologically speaking, I may be participating in the role of the parent, which is how we communicate. We're going to be three people in that communication. At most, we can be the child, the adult, or the parent. And we will interact with each other in a two-way conversation and play one of them roles, at least, in communication, alright? But that's a video for another time. So, if I'm communicating with a woman in a joyful manner, in a playful manner, and I am speaking to her inner child and she is reacting as such, and then I ask her a question or make a statement and she responds to me in the tone of her adult self, in a lower tone, more mature tone, bolder, more, what's the word? I don't know, but with more authority, yeah? Most men wouldn't pick up on it, but it's your job to listen and pick up on that. That change of tone, cadence, is very important. Listen to what she is emphasizing upon. Okay? Yes. You ask, is everything okay? She says, yes, everything's fine. The slight emphasis on the word fine is a highlight of that particular word, which means that word is to be questioned, and that tone of voice does not relate to fine. There is no buoyant, content tone that you would associate with such word. So you need to ask why, because she will be purposefully speaking in such a way that you have to treat and respond in that manner. And don't get me wrong, women might go around and say, oh, men are dumb, they don't understand me. But she will still expect you to understand her at that moment in time, because she is sending you a message, and in girl speak, in feminine speak, in the feminine mind, that makes complete sense, and the message has been conveyed. So you have to absorb that message, translate that message, and respond in such a manner. We men speak in logical statements, factual. In some cases, that is not how a woman wants to engage, especially if they are within their emotions, you see. You have to catch on to that emotional value and react as such, and speak to that emotion and understand. Okay? If it's a negative emotion, you must diffuse that and react in such a manner. To react in a logical way would be irrelevant. But to try to douse out the flame or the cinder block which is now burning, and you need to prevent a full-scale fire, you can catch on at that particular moment. And then when you do so and engage in a productive, beneficial manner in response to their statement, they are going to look at you as somebody who understands them, which we men have a bad rep for not being able to pick up on messages and signals as such. So you will differentiate yourself and distance yourself from the ever-growing crowd of ignorant men who can't pick up these messages. And then there is a compounding interest of such. As you pick up that message, you start to recognize the patterns within your general communications with other women, and before you know it, you just happen to know how to speak to women really well, above and beyond and ahead of your competition within the sexual market, given that's what you were interested in. Isn't that some room for thought? Some food for thought? Listen to what they are saying. Okay? Because if we don't get the message and we respond to the words, as opposed to not the body language by itself, but also the tone and the way the words are spoken, we are going to react in a completely incorrect manner. And then as to how they respond to that, it may possibly be explosive. It may possibly fall off at the deep end, and you have a deeper situation to deal with because you have not diffused the time bomb in time. To the furthest extent, that's your partner, and now she is going to go to the next man and say, he doesn't understand me. You need to fulfill that role if they are your partner, or they are your potential partner, and listen into the words that are being spoken. When it comes to men, the tone of voice and this emphasis on the way things are said, yes, it still definitely plays a part, but we don't send messages consciously, generally speaking, through what we say in that manner, because we like to convey information. Whereas a woman will convey her emotion. At least more so. And without that, I'm signing out. Peace.